Assalamu alaikum, guys. Welcome back to, I guess, another episode of the Revelation Experience. Miraj Muhyiddin here, and I wanted to have a kind of like a heart-to-heart with you guys and let you know what is going on in my world. It has been some time since I recorded a video. I think it was before Ramadan, and I told you guys I was taking some time off, and I wanted to give you an update on what's been going on my end, share some really exciting news with you, and kind of give you a heads up of where we're going from here. So, oh boy, where do we begin? I have, this whole Revelation experience, the story that I've shared with you about getting to know the Prophet, peace upon him, and so forth. If you remember way back in the day, before I even started writing Revelation, my whole goal in all of this was to try to connect to the Quran in a really powerful, meaningful way. I wanted to be like Sayyidina Abu Bakr, right? Remember the Abu Bakr coaching plan, all that kind of stuff. And the goal was, how do I become like someone like him, who when I hear the Quran, it like moves me in my heart, and I'm like inspired by it, and it guides my life. And through that journey, I started studying Seerah and so forth. But remember, I'm bringing this up because at the end of the day, my goal was always to connect to the Quran. And this journey over 15 plus years has taken me some very interesting places. And one of the benefits is that I've gotten to meet really amazing people along the way and be inspired by people. Well, in the last year or year and a half or so, a project came across my table, or I should say, actually, I went and chased down this project because I thought this would be pretty exciting. And that project was to try to take this book right here, which is The Meaning of the Holy Quran, written by Yahiya Emerick. Now, for those of you who are familiar with my channel and so forth, I love this translation of the Quran. There are many translations, there are many excellent translations. This is my favorite. And it's my favorite for a number of reasons, which we'll get into in the future. But long story short, I love this translation. It's the translation I used in my book, Revelation. And the more I started using this book and going through it, I realized that this, to me, is the best book in the English language on the Quran, and specifically not just because of the translation itself, but because the footnotes are incredible, just like very detailed footnotes and so forth. And I always felt, reading this book, I felt like a kindred spirit to the translator and the researcher, Yahiya Emerick, because I felt like this individual has probably put in 10 times the time and effort that I have into Revelation, studying the Seerah. He basically did the same thing with the Quran over so many years, and just so much, like, I'm awe-inspired by this individual. And in the back of my mind, over the years that I was writing my book, I always had this idea in my heart that I would love to take this book and actually take it to the next level in terms of format, layout, and readability. If you look at this book, the content and the material is amazing, but it's a very simple layout. It's kind of like a print-on-demand layout. By the way, for those of you who don't know, I'll put the Amazon link below where you can purchase this book on Amazon. But it was always my dream to take this book and bring it up to the layout, the graphic style that I did with Revelation, with figures, charts, color-coded things, those side memos, making it very easy to connect to the Quran. Now, the challenge with this was I didn't know the Quran well enough to really, have that confidence to say, hey, I want to do this, or I want to try to do this. And over the years, I've been studying this book inside out, outside in, reading every single footnote, going through it, highlighting it. This is probably my fourth copy of this book because I've gone through so many of them. Yahiya Emerick, he has so many other versions of it for kids. Here's one for kids. He has all these different versions of it. And I thought to myself, boy, if I could maybe get to know Yahiya Emerick and get to a place where he could trust me to take this book onto the next level, it would just be my life's mission and my life's work. And so, alhamdulillah, praise be to God, over all this time, I've had a chance to get to know him, and he agreed to allow me to help him take this book and raise kind of the bar in terms of its production quality to the place where I think it is kind of in the same kind of league as Revelation in terms of production quality, so that they both talk to each other. This book has so much more information than my book, and I want to make them complementary to each other so that we have a whole operating system. And one day I just emailed him and said, hey, look, or I think I called him and said, hey, do you think would you trust me with this? And I'll work with you on it. But this to me is my life's goal, is to get to the Quran. The Seerah was just a way to get to the Quran, but the Quran is my life's goal. And he signed off on it. He said, he said, I trust you. I'm doing this just for the same reason that you're doing it, just that we can help people connect. And what's amazing is that his writing style and my writing style are very, very similar. And so we've developed this really meaningful relationship where we kind of just email back and forth every day. And I kind of send him some, I go through the book, I'm editing it right now, making sure everything's clean. The language, it's pretty much like 99% great, but I'm trying to catch little things and then start working on layout for this book. So the reason why I want to share all this with you today is just to kind of let you know what's been going on in my mind, because I told you before Ramadan I have a lot of things I'm trying to figure out. I have some big projects and so forth, and I want to give you a heads up on it. Now, in this process of trying to figure out how to do this, I recognized very early on just the amount of work that I'm going to have to put into this book. There's so much work that's already done with Yahiya Emerick, which he did with it, but there's a lot more work that I'm going to need to do to kind of accomplish my vision of what I'm trying to create with this book. And in that process, I realized, well, I have a lot of things going on. We have the YouTube channel, I have, my website with the audio books and so forth. So there's all of these different things. And I'm also working on the second edition of Revelation, the biography of the Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him. So I have all of these things going on. And then on top of that, I have like family commitments and, work and so forth. And I took Ramadan to try to figure out, like, what are my priorities? Because I can't do everything. And I'm realizing that in order to do something very significant like this, which would be like kind of like a full-time job in itself, I need to pare down some of my goals for the time being. And what I realized for me is that this is way more important to me to complete this goal, to try to help make the Quran more accessible for just general readership, is far more important to me than even completing my my audio series on the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, and so forth in the near future. And so I wanted to explain all of this to you guys because you're probably wondering, hey, where have you been on YouTube and so forth, is that this, I realized, is my number one priority when it comes to my work outside of my job and my family. This is my number one priority, to try to get the Quran presented to you guys in a way that you can connect with. And so in that process, I realized that, well, the YouTube channel and my production there is going to have to necessarily go down. In fact, I'm back in my office here. I kind of took down my studio that we were doing all the light board stuff on because I just don't have the time to do all of that and do this and so forth. And so I just want to explain that to you guys, and I hope you can be patient with me because I could not be more excited about this. Like, to me, this is... bringing this book to you guys is like my life's work at this point. And I feel more excited by this and more inspired by this than I even felt writing my own book. It's just to help Yahiya Emerick's book get to where I think it can really be. And so I hope you guys are excited about that. In terms of videos and so forth, I really don't know where to go from here because there is a part of me that loves connecting with you guys, sharing some of my experiences with you and so forth. We left off with the Adam series. I have a series that I have on Noah and on Abraham and so forth, and it's super important stuff, but I'm pausing on that right now so I can get through this material. With that being said, I would love to get input from you guys about kind of what you would like to see. I can still put out some videos. I'll probably be more informal like this, where I can kind of explain to you my process and so forth. One of the ideas that I had a couple people have asked me to do is just kind of do videos explaining my process of how I write books like Revelation and bring books like this kind of to bookshelves. How do I do that? What is that process of editing and the process of laying out and design and publishing and so forth? If that's something that's interesting to you guys, I would love to share that with you. We can talk about goal setting. I can tell you some of the things that are happening to me along the way in this journey, and I would love to share with you, possibly if I have time, just interesting lessons that I'm taking away from the Quran as I'm kind of going through the material and kind of assembling it all together and so forth. So that's the big announcement, and I'm so happy to share that with you. I really appreciate those of you who kind of leave feedback, and a couple of comments that people send here and there just give me like the energy to keep moving forward with it. And so I want to reach out with you and just share this news with you. I hope you're as excited about this as I am. And yeah, that's it. Let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking. If you have any questions, anything that you would like to see with this Quran version coming out, anything that you felt like you've struggled with when it comes to connecting with the Quran that you would like me to address in this book, there'll certainly be, inshallah. My hope is that I'll have lots of charts and figures and a whole kind of like, navigational system. It's very ergonomic, just like I have with my book, Revelation. I would love to get any feedback from you guys about what your challenges have been with the Quran and what you would love to see in this upcoming book. One thing I definitely want to do is do an interview with Yahiya Emerick sometime soon, inshallah, so you guys can meet with him and you can hear his story about how he put together this absolutely extraordinary book. I think the best explanation of the Quran in the English language. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I can't wait to see you soon, I hope, inshallah. Please be patient. Make sure you subscribe so you can get the latest updates when I put out video updates, and we'll go from there. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Assalamu alaikum.